Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into your Monday night's edition of the Formula One Fan Show Live. That always gets me every time between the countdown and the intro, and I'm always sat there, luckily not caught unawares. But I'm glad you're back. What a race it was this week, and I'm of course, as always, joined. My friends, hello, Ben Moore, welcome in. He's made it back from Chile, Neil. He's made it back from Chile. Ben's in the house. For those watching, you can, of course, get involved as Ben has done right there on the screen in the chat. Or if you've got something to say, just say link and I will give you a link to appear on the show. And Ben is absolutely right. A very, very interesting race this week. Let's kick things off by introducing our Formula One aficionado, our network reporter. Some fantastic articles coming out for you guys in the coming weeks. I've got to be honest. And as always, before we do go into today's show, you can listen to this back on any podcasting platform. But for now, let's welcome Steve in. Steve, how you doing, my friend?
Hello, I'm very well. You?
Very well. What is our beverage of choice this evening?
I have got my first ever glass, I think, of Bishop's Finger, and it is absolutely lovely.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, that's what we want. It's what we want, you know, like a little Bishop's Finger on the show. As Ben suggests, great race this week, right?
Very good. It's very interesting. I think I and everyone else is probably prepared for another Mercedes walkover. So to see that, totally unexpected, and some of that every week, please.
For sure. Before we get into to today's race and the meat and the bones, let's of course welcome in our contributor, our F1 fan of the day, if you will. It's Mr. Neil Moles. How we doing, Neil?
Hello there. Yeah, not too bad.
All right? Yeah. How's things?
Superb.
Oh, I hear she's a great girl. Superb.
Yeah, she is.
Every week you come on and say superb. Every week. So
never better.
I will dip out and let you two crack on with the race because I'm involved in another call, Mr. Worldwide, right now. I'll come back to you very guys soon. Enjoy today's.
Yeah, don't really know where to start with that. I think, probably we were all expecting a Mercedes walkover. It was Hamilton and Bottas on the front row of the grid again. And as soon as Hamilton led out of turn one of the first chicane, he was gone, and I put my feet up and was prepared just for a nice afternoon snooze. I don't know about you.
Well, I saw how both my McLaren drivers got off the line, and as I done a tweet saying that I couldn't believe where they were, and could the race finish now? Jobs are good,
incredible, wasn't it? What a start that was! Because I mean, Bottas was 7/100ths of a second off Hamilton in qualifying, so I was thinking this is because it's got to be last chance saloon for Bottas. We're getting near there. This is his big chance to really capitalise. And rather than just sitting back into second, he fell behind both McLarens and a racing point.
I kept wondering, was the racing point going to end up coming past Norris, but he never did. And I was just surprised by their pace. You just think that with them long straights, because they said the DRS wasn't as effective here, which it was good to see, really. It ended up being a good race from it, but rather than just an easy, everyone just strolling past each other.
Yeah, strolling past, like that. It was. Heat Stroll did get a bit lucky, to be fair. Yeah, he was the only one on the podium I wasn't really happy for. But it was nice he actually got some proper overtakes and some decent racing. There was like into turn the first chicane and around the sort of curve of Grande. There were some amazing passes going on, like proper balls to the wall, foot flat to the floor sort of thing. It was great, apart from Bottas. It was brilliant, but
Bottas got mugged off by Norris.
He really did.
Tyre to tyre.
And then he said, "I've got a puncture." No, you're just slow. You're just slow, Bottas.
Yeah, he was sliding all over the place.
Yeah,
he looked in trouble, but he got it back together, but he never really gained any, pace or anything.
The irritating thing I find with that is obviously coming further into the race, Hamilton got that penalty. So Bottas is sitting where he was at that point in the pit lane, waiting for the race to restart, and he's going to be thinking, right, this is it. This is Hamilton's going to be dropping to the back of the grid, out of the points. Verstappen is far back anyway, so he obviously before he DNF'd.
Verstappen was out by that point, wasn't he?
Just after, I think.
Okay. He ended up. He wasn't very happy, was he?
Oh no! But even before, when he was in the race, he was quite far down. Albon's got no hope anyway, so we thought this could be my big chance to at least get a podium and really eat into Hamilton's championship lead, and he just made no ground forward whatsoever. I mean, yeah, sad face for Bottas there, but
he was 30 odd seconds behind, and Albon was the first person he had to catch.
Yeah, that's got to be a pain for Albon. You know, you're dead last when both Williams are still in the race. You're dead last, and the man who you replaced wins it. Yeah, the junior or sister, but still kind of junior team to yours in far inferior machinery. This is like cemented my opinion that Gasly is the driver of the season so far.
It's the old Minardi team, isn't it? So it's still technically Italian.
Mm-hmm.
And that was they were last one there in 2008, but this time it wasn't raining or anything. So
no, this time it was on
drive.
A great strategy because they boxed him before the safety car.
Because they said not everyone wanted to go to the hard tyres. The mediums were the ones to be on, but then they had to stretch the soft tyres to get onto them. But he just went softs to hard, and like you say, he gained the first or pole position from that good strategy. Basically,
that was a brilliant stuff from him.
The only one I wasn't a fan of, as you said, was Stroll. The fact that when it's red flagged, you can end up changing parts. Because I saw Mercedes were trying to change some as well. Did they try and add some air fins for cooling and things?
I'm not too sure. I saw them doing something, but I was sort of more focused on what was going on with Hamilton.
Yeah, they had a panel on the floor, and then they were talking to that FIA chap, and they had to very much prove that it was all going to weigh the same and all this, that, and the other. But
right.
Yeah, the commentators basically said they were going to laugh that out. So,
it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, you know, at the point you're still in a race. Yes, okay, suspended, but you're still in a race. You shouldn't tamper with the cars. Regarding
no, it should basically you have to go out with whatever you pulled in with, and then the race continues from there. Instead, you basically he got a free pit stop.
Yeah, Stroll ended up with that free pit stop, and it got him third. And he was complaining that he didn't get the win. So I mean, you're lucky to be on the podium anyway. You know, you should, if you come in with a damaged front wing, for example, you shouldn't be able to just change a front wing. You should be I suppose penalised. Yes, it's technically, you know, you shouldn't get a free pit stop through something. You know, I mean, if you damage your own front wing through your own stupidity,
or you could do, if you do, then you start from the pit lane.
Yeah, you'll start from the pit lane. I'm immensely happy for Gasly because that was deserved, well deserved. I'm sort of 50-50 with Sainz. Really happy he got second. Disappointed he didn't win as well. So, but I can't win that because obviously Gasly or Sainz is going to win it. And then Stroll, I don't really care. To be honest, I don't really care.
Do you think about that with Albon, possibly, you know, the switch happening? Do you think after that performance, everything that's happened with them and...
Well, I mean, first off, with the Bottas comment, same old story. Yeah, absolutely. It's week in, week out from Bottas. His championship's gone. Red Bull, they've got to be thinking, did we make the right call or did we pull the trigger on Gasly too soon? Because he was doing great at Toro Rosso. The pressure and the obvious favouritism for Verstappen really hindered him at Red Bull, as it is hindering Albon now. You know, Albon's a good driver, but the pressure at Red Bull is insane. And if I was Gasly, I wouldn't go back to Red Bull. Carlos Sainz has done really well for himself leaving that Red Bull family because he obviously was Toro Rosso. He was overlooked for the Red Bull seat with Ricciardo. Or no, was it Vernon? Sorry, was overlooked for Ricciardo. I think Sainz was after Vernon. Either way, so he was obviously overlooked for Red Bull seats in the past, and he went to Renault, and now obviously McLaren, and he's on his way to Ferrari. So you're best off out of the Red Bull family. So Red Bull are going to be thinking what they can do about Albon. Do they give him to the end of the season? If his performances pick up, great. But they need to stop blatantly favouring Verstappen. They need to have a more neutral approach.
Yeah, I don't know how
they're going to fight for wins or constructors' championships with just favouring one driver.
I did read somewhere that the Albon doesn't even have the same car setup or parts. I mean, as Verstappen does. Apparently, they're running two completely different specs, and
I wouldn't be surprised
whether
if
that's
that's
just
true.
Verstappen gets all the new bits and Albon has to deal with what's left. But is that just a cover up to to try and make Albon and his situation better?
I don't know. I mean, I like Albon as a driver, but the thing, his interviews are heartbreaking week in, week out, because he always seems so sad and so depressed. And he's a bit like Bottas. There seems to be no real fight in him. And it's almost like okay, I'll try harder next week, but then next week never comes. So I think I don't know if we'd see him in a Red Bull next year. There's obviously the rumours always float around this time of the season, or normal seasons anyway.
Yep.
Hulkenberg, get him in a Red Bull. Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg in a Red Bull. That would be amazing. I mean, yeah, probably play second fiddle to Verstappen, but you'll have someone else who can fight for podiums at least.
I think did he have? Who was it? He had an opportunity for a test position.
Can't remember. Not sure.
I don't think Hulkenberg will get a race seat. I think they categorically said no to that one. But
yeah, he won't go to Red Bull, but maybe somewhere like Haas or possibly Alpha. I don't know. Haas, I think, are the more likely one. Yeah, Ben's comment. He's not been consistent for years, because it was a year or 2 years ago, maybe, when he turned up and he won that first race and he said, "Oh, this is Bottas 2.0," and he was fierce and he had a beard and he was all like, "I'm good to go." But then he's just turned into a puppy again. I said to someone on Twitter earlier, it's not that I don't like him. It's not that I don't like him as a driver. He's a good driver, but if Lewis beats him into turn 1, it's like he thinks, well, Lewis has got me on this one, so I'll try again next week. And then Lewis will beat him into turn 1 next week, and he'll think, he's got me again, and so on and so on. So,
thing is, if it's not him not being good enough, you've then got the fact that Mercedes will come along and end up going, "No, you can't use them settings to get past him. You're not racing each other."
That's it. Last week in Belgium, we're allowed one push. Yeah, but we said not to use it on each other. So that's it. If he can fight, Mercedes probably won't even let him. But then he can't even, he got passed by McLaren's at Racing Point and he couldn't get past them. And although they're 2 good cars, the Mercedes is still far superior. As for who could replace him, I know who I'd like to see replace him, or 2 drivers I'd love to see replace him. One of which is Verstappen, and the other one is Russell. I'm leaning more towards Verstappen because I think Russell will be pushed into a number 2 role, which I don't want to see, because I'm a big Russell fan. I don't want to see him in a number 2 role. Verstappen wouldn't take a number 2 role, but that would be quite a fragile relationship, I feel, because Verstappen went back down, and we saw what happened with Hamilton and Rosberg. So
yeah, as soon as the whole pit lane being closed thing happened, I just thought this is a chance for the championship to come alive now. But no one really capitalised, did they? No,
someone should have done. I mean, as soon as that came up saying, Hamilton, because I think Martin Brundle he said, Hamilton might be under investigation here for the pit lane being closed. Please, come on, just something to liven this up, because the first 20 laps were dull. And then they said Giovinazzi the same thing. They gave him the penalty. I was thinking, right, okay, I don't care about that. Where's the penalty I really want to see? And then it came up Hamilton, 10 seconds, boom. Get in. So we've got a race.
As you know, I at that point, I was happy with Dull. My boys were up near the front, so Dull was fine for me. But I must admit, towards the end, the whole closing down and I just wanted Sainz to get there. You think if Stroll had to have pitted, that would have been one less person to hold Sainz up.
Yeah.
So he would have been closer to Gasly. It's just I felt the same way at the end. Sainz did, that it was just one more lap. He felt he'd missed out. Yeah, I have nothing against Gasly, but I just wanted my boys to win it. So,
I mean, I was 50-50 for Sainz, really, because I wanted Sainz, because I love Sainz. He's a great driver, and McLaren do deserve our success. No, he's not the best driver by a year, Martin. Enough of that. He's not the best driver. Well, probably is. I wanted Sainz to do well, but also Gasly, with what he's been through, with obviously the drop from Red Bull, getting back into Toro Rosso. He lost one of his closest friends, obviously Antoine Hubert, last year. It's been a tough year for him. His house was robbed not so long ago when he was away. So you can see how much it meant to him on the podium. He just sat there and he was muttering the words. I could see his lips going incredible, and he was just standing there soaking it all in. And the only thing that was disappointing was there was no fans there, because that would have been unbelievable scenes. Imagine that, just a sea of Italian fans and F1 fans.
Yeah, they said he missed out with the whole reaction of the crowd and how it would have been, he would have been treated and everything. The noise and
because I think
the passion they always have.
Red Bull didn't gain a lot of fans from getting rid of Gasly the way they did. It's not the first time they've made driver switches mid-season, and it probably won't be the last. It's never a nice thing to do, just ring up a driver and say, "Yeah, you're done, mate." But they got a lot of stick for that. And he is showing them two very big middle fingers right now. He's saying, look what Albon's doing. Look what I've done in a car that is inferior to what you've given my replacement.
Yeah, for Gasly, I heard Grosjean afterwards. He was really happy for a French driver to win. Was it 24 years since the last French driver?
1996. Yeah, 24 years. Olivier Panis in Monaco. That was amazing.
That's ridiculous to think that, a nation like France, and it's been that long for them.
Yeah, and you have had,
I suppose we take
French
it
drivers on the grid.
For granted having Hamilton win it, every other week for us. But
it was nice to hear a different set of anthems being played on the podium. Le Marseillaise followed by the Italian anthem was great. I like that. Ben's comment, what will happen driver-wise? I think they're both still signed for next year. I know Russell is. I'm sure Latifi's signed for next year as well.
I imagine the new owners would want to keep a little bit of stability there.
Yeah. I mean, it was an emotional weekend for me as a big Williams fan, of course. And Latifi came so close to scoring points in the Williams family's last race. He was 11th ahead of a Red Bull, which was amazing. Can't remember the last time I saw that. He came so close to points, and it was a genuine shame. But hearing their emotional messages over the radio to Claire after the race, and I said in the video we did recently that I've never been a fan of Claire as a team boss, but as a person, I've got all the time in the world for her. I think she's a great person, and the passion she has for that team. And I'm sure we'll still see her around the paddock every now and then.
Did you see the interview?
I did.
She done an interview, yeah.
It was emotional.
She opened up a little bit about the reasons behind stepping away, because that was the main thing I wanted to know. Why, basically. Pretty much it came down to the fact that it's been a struggle for them, and now the team's not actually theirs. They won't have the same drive anymore, and that's not fair on the team. So,
Yeah, I can understand that, to be honest. I still think there might be better waiting until the end of the season to then do a full handover and at least sort of guide the new owners through a tricky year. But as for what will happen driver-wise, I think they'll stick with... Sorry.
It's still a bit, for me, it's still a bit of a nothing year. It's one of those where just get it out the way, but pretty much because you can't get many changes. Next season's going to be the same for them, like with Ferrari, basically. But
I thought they would have had a point by now.
Need to hope, because I felt you were really slow in the straight line. When Hamilton got to the Williams, it was like, see you later.
It was like an F2 car. Oh, okay, there he goes. Fight him! Oh, no, never mind.
They've got the same engine, but they said the Williams are really draggy, so they're just slower in a straight line, and you could easily tell.
Russell has been saying that car is really draggy, and like you say, you really could see. I never said F2 was better. I said it's getting to that stage, because the races in F2 were amazing. You didn't know who was going to win. Mick Schumacher took his second F2 victory, which was awesome. Again, as a Schumacher fan. I'll tell you what, if every race was like yesterday's race in Formula 1, then no, F1 is streets ahead. But we'll get to Magellan.
They kept laughing, saying this is why we want reverse races.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. How does F2 make that step forward? I have no idea, to be honest. F2 doesn't need to make a step forward. F2 is doing everything right at the minute. They've got it sorted. They're brilliant. They've got amazing drivers.
If people, you can't compare the two. No. F2 is similar to, say, your Indy cars and things, where everyone's got the same machinery. I know Indy cars got two different engine manufacturers, but basically the chassis, you're given a chassis and it's all on setup and your drivers, and in which that is not Formula One. Everything per team is new.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's the way it's supposed to be.
You are seeing the best drivers come to the fore here, like Mick Schumacher, Callum Ilott. He's having a great season, championship leader. Schumacher is now second. Schwartzman is down into third. But those 3 drivers have been great all year. Schumacher's had 7 podiums, I think. And I know people say he's only going to be an F1 for his name. Yeah, that's going to be part of it. And there's going to be unnecessary pressure on him because he's a Schumacher. But I think he's got good potential. There's a lot of rumours again about him maybe joining Alpha next year, possibly alongside Giovinazzi. I don't know. So well, as I just said, Schumacher would be good in Alfa Romeo because they're a Ferrari-backed team.
Zhou making the jump?
Zhou, I don't know. Maybe not to Renault because they've got 2 drivers for next year. And I think he's
there's quite a few good young drivers in that series, and they all can't make the jump, so some will have to stay behind.
That's the painful thing. They're a brilliant. Like Nick de Vries was a great driver, and he never made that jump to Formula One. He's still young. He's in a different series now, but he never made that jump to F1. But I thought he would have done.
I know whoever wins it can't stay in the championship. They have to move on.
Yes, and I believe
even if they go to even if they go to any old series, you name it. Even if they go, say, DTM or IndyCar or anything, I think it's ridiculous. But I suppose it's to stop the same person winning it each season.
We should do that with Formula One.
Yeah, it's not really going to be the case because it's such a neutralised championship via car qualities and that surely anyone really has a chance to win it. You get lucky sometimes, you get unlucky in others.
That's it. But I think the one driver I want to see come up to F1 most is Mick Schumacher. I think he would be good in either Alfa Romeo alongside Giovinazzi because they're 2 Ferrari-backed drivers. Obviously, Schumacher's always going to be backed by Ferrari because of his father.
I just don't want to see a Bruno Senna moment because I wanted the same for him, and unfortunately, he was nothing basically.
He started off in that dog of a car at Hispania, and which you never expected much from that car anyway. I can't believe that was 10 years ago. And then he came back with Williams and Maldonado. Maldonado managed to win a race in that car, and Senna could get nowhere near him. Pastor Maldonado, he's the last race winner for my team. That really hurts. But I don't know. Schumacher, Callum Ilott could possibly come up, especially if he wins the championship. But the trouble is, there's few seats out there now. I mean, you've got.
Is there a Russian driver that's doing quite well?
Nikita Mazepin, I think. I'm not sure how well he's doing. I haven't really paid much attention to it. I've been looking at sort of Callum Ilott and Schumacher. Because Ilott's a great driver, and he could do well coming up to F1, as could Schumacher, as potentially could Schwartzman, but I don't know. But the thing is, you've got drivers like Fernando Alonso returning to F1, which on one hand I think is fantastic because I was a big Alonso fan, and he is obviously one of the best known drivers. But it's also, he's 39, he's blocking the path for someone like Guan Yu Zhou to come up from Formula 2 to Formula 1.
That's what they say. Keep saying about Raikkonen. Should he step down? Should he step away? But surely if that's the case, then you'd say the same for Alonso. Why is he? Because he's even been away. So is he going to be the same? And that's it. That IndyCar performance didn't exactly, shine for me either.
I love Kimi Raikkonen, big Kimi Raikkonen fan, but it is time at the end of the season just to step away now. Maybe he could have retired when he left Ferrari a couple of years ago, but he could be blocking someone maybe like Schwartzman, maybe Schumacher, another young Ferrari Academy driver, or maybe not a Ferrari driver, but some young driver. He could be blocking his path because Raikkonen's 40.
Yeah, well, Giovinazzi isn't exactly showing him up, is he?
No, this was Giovinazzi's big chance. He's got Kimi Raikkonen alongside him. If he can wipe the floor, or even not wipe the floor, but at least take the fight to Raikkonen. And I know Giovinazzi scored points this year and Raikkonen hasn't. He's not exactly been the consistent driver who you can genuinely say is dominating his teammate.
Because everyone's saying that Raikkonen is just not the same man he was. This is the, a a fracture of a man that was once, at the front of the grid. So for Giovinazzi not being able to really be on par with him sort of tells you his level, really.
Yeah, I mean, he still loves the sport. You can't question his love for Formula One, but
no,
he's not on it like he was. I mean, his McLaren days and his early Ferrari career, he was phenomenal. One of the best on the grid.
I don't think you can really, have say anything harsh against him. It's just, as you said, his age. With the age, and the fact that he's got a family now, things change in your mind. And if you're not really going for it, like some of the youngsters are that really don't care as much through whatever, reason, but they go for it more, don't they? They can push harder.
Yeah, I mean,
hell for leather.
With Kimi, he's 40 years old. He's got a couple of young kids. He's got a wife. He's got nothing to prove. He's been in Formula One for 19 years, he had a couple of years out, but he's been in Formula One really since 2001. He's won a championship. He's won races. He's stood on lots of podiums. He's got nothing to prove. Whereas younger drivers like Giovinazzi and even like Formula 2 drivers have got plenty to prove. I mean, Giovinazzi's done nothing that really stands out in my eyes. So Raikkonen could easily step aside now because he's got the money. He's got his championship. He's doing it for the love of the sport, but he could be hindering another driver's progression into the sport, like a young Ferrari driver.
Is this more of a recent thing though? Because now you've got all these junior programs, and they're trying to find the next Verstappens and Hamiltons and things, and you've got so many drivers coming through, and they've got to go somewhere, and
that's it.
Everyone's feeling, oh, this man's deserving. Well. Was that not the case years ago? You never felt that drivers were on purposely being pushed out. And
no, I think it's got worse in the past few years because, as you say, Mercedes got a young driver program, Ferrari got a young driver program, Red Bull have two teams that they can trial their drivers in. A lot of the young drivers for Mercedes will go to Williams, like Russell. Ferrari drivers will find a place in the sport like Giovinazzi at Alfa, maybe Haas as well. But again, Haas, they've got Grosjean in the team. He could step aside and he could let another young Ferrari product come in there because they've got Ferrari engines. He'll get the support from Ferrari. But I remember years ago, Juan Pablo Montoya came to Williams from IndyCar or Champ Car, or one of the two.
I think.
Champ Car. And you wouldn't get that now. You wouldn't get someone coming into Formula One having done a previous season in Champ Car. No. Villeneuve did the same, I think. He came to Formula One from America. And you don't get that because they now all come to Formula One from just GP2 or Formula 2.
You have the problem with the license, don't you? I can't think quite the wording of it, but there was the driver for McLaren in IndyCar. He was with the Red Bull program for a while because they were going to get him to do a few drives, but then you need to get points on the license, and he didn't end up having enough. I guess whatever series he had been in and drives he had done wasn't considered good enough standard, so he couldn't end up driving. So they basically had to go, sorry, mate, let him go, and because I think they terminated any contract they had with him. Just because it was no point in having him, basically, and he ended up going back to IndyCar. And I say that the team McLaren ended up taking or being part of. They took him on, and he's a cracking driver.
Yeah, and I think the good thing with Formula One now is there is so much talent on the grid. We've seen that yesterday. When the likes of Hamilton and Vettel and Raikkonen and Grosjean retire, and Alonso again. When Grosjean finally leaves the sport, and the likes of Hamilton and Vettel, because they're all, they're not young anymore. When they all go, you've got lots of drivers who can step into the seats. You've got someone like George Russell, obviously Carlos Sainz going to Ferrari, Max Verstappen. You've got so much talent up and down the grid. You've got Leclerc, you've got Verstappen, you've got Russell, you've got Gasly, who is fantastic. Albon, jury's still out on him. Could have a good career. I don't know. And there's lots of talent in Formula 2 as well. So you're not going to be short of talent for the next few years in F1, that's for sure. And with teams like Williams now having decent investment, there'd be less need for pay drivers.
Albon's season basically has gone like it did in Austria. So much promise, started really well, and then basically it went off the rails as soon as Hamilton hit him. But yeah, his season hasn't been the same since, has it?
It's been terrible. I mean, Max Verstappen got 6 podiums on the bounce, and I know that obviously it's tricky right now because you know that the first 2 positions are going to be Mercedes, and you can only ever have that one person in third position, and he's not as quick as Verstappen.
But if you're trailing up 4th every race, then we wouldn't be having any conversation, would we? Well, Albon, you're doing a cracking job.
Yeah, if he was, because the second fastest car, well, at the minute you'd say it's a McLaren, even with Mercedes in.
I never saw that. After last week, we were saying how good Renault was going to be here, in which I think is the reason for Ocon's comments after the race, where he said that a missed opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, because they were looking forward to Monza, and they know they're probably going to struggle in Mugello, listening to Ricciardo after the race. But
I don't really know why Ocon was so unhappy, because he was a good 2 positions behind his teammate, wasn't he? Or
yeah, he was.
If Ricciardo missed out on some, a real good position, why did he feel that he should have been any better? But the car just wasn't as quick as I thought it was going to be.
No, but Albon, like you say, if he was bringing 4th every race, 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th, just being around that top 5, there's a good argument for him. But he's not. He's struggling. Like he finished behind a Williams, both Williams. I think.
Did you hear?
He was last, Albon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
In a Red Bull, it's won a race this year. It's got 6 podiums on the bounce, and he's last behind the Williams.
Did you hear back to my team McLaren when they were running 2nd and 3rd? They hadn't been in them positions since 2012, apparently.
Oh dear, that's okay. Well, at least Williams good. 2nd and 3rd since then.
No, that's not good. The safety car is out, gentlemen. You have had a fantastic 32 minutes. I've really enjoyed listening to you while this other screen warbles on. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, let's just quickly finish off. We've got to uphold tradition here. I've got some quiz questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give you both a call sign. Let's give Neil Broom, and let's give Steve. What's your best noise on bass, Steve?
I'm not even going to make a noise.
You got to make a noise. If Neil's got to go broom, you got to make a noise.
Well, E minor. Yeah, just say E minor. There you go.
E minor. There you go. You say E minor, and Neil can say broom because Neil's a sport. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Broom.
When was Formula One founded?
E minor.
Go on, him.
1950.
Correct. 1-0. First to 4. Which circuit hosted the first Formula One race?
E minor.
Go on, him.
Silverstone.
Correct. Neil, you've got to get this next question, otherwise it's game over. But I will go until you say broom. So don't think you're gonna get out of it that way. Who is the first F1 driver to win the World Drivers' Championship?
E minor.
Go on, him.
Farina.
Correct. Now just Neil, I want to hear the magical words. What's the name of the Alfa Romeo F1 car winner of the first Formula One race?
Say that again.
What's the name of the Alfa Romeo F1 car winner of the first Formula One race?
Come again?
That's not on the list. That's not on the list. It's Alfa Romeo, then it's a number. So it's Alfa Romeo 1, Alfa Romeo 510. What's the name of the first Formula One race? The winner of the first Formula One race car?
Bloody hell.
I thought they were a C letter. Like a C, I don't know, was it like C25 or something?
I'll go with that. No, 158.
I have no clue on that one.
No, me neither. But luckily I had the answer in front of me, so that's all good. But I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight, gentlemen. I thank you both for your time. I apologise again profusely that I wasn't as active as I would like to have been. Some things come up that are out of my control. But I hope you've enjoyed tonight. Who wants to lead us out?
Yeah. Yeah, as usual stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, thank you for getting involved with your questions. There were some good questions there as well. Nice to talk about Formula 2 for a bit as well, sort of branch out a little bit into something different. So
yeah, it was nice.
Give some love to the junior drivers. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. We've obviously got a race again this week in Mugello, so I think we're all hoping for a bit more Monza and a bit less Silverstone the second race.
Of course, I asked you predictions last week, and you kind of got them, didn't you? Because you kind of got the exciting, exhilarating race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In 10 seconds or less, both of you. I'll come to Neil first. Neil, what do you want to see from this week's race?
Broom, broom.
Broom, broom. What does that mean? What do you want to see, Neil?
More of the same, basically.
Okay.
What we had this weekend. If
Steve?
we can have another topsy-turvy race, that'd be cracking.
Sounds good to me. Steve?
Unpredictability, Williams in the points.
And pigs will fly.
Cheers.
No problem.
They were
Thanks
close.
for watching.
They weren't last.
All right. Just.